So we've been enjoying the weather for today?
Beautiful.
Well, I'm glad one person likes it. Everyone else is like, no, I don't. Which, you are my people, because I've hated the weather for today. I can't stand the summer. Mostly because it's a very depressing thing when you have to go outside wearing a hat in this sort of weather, otherwise my head will look like a baked potato. And much like a baked potato, if it's out for too long, the skin will start cracking and my brains will spew out like the mash. Although, like the mash, it's really good with butter. So this is the second time I've done stand-up. I did stand-up for the first time a few weeks ago in Bognor at a place called the Lamb Inn. Anyone heard of it? Yeah, nice place. And I recorded that gig as well, and I showed it to a load of people, and everyone was very, very nice about it. They said I did very well. They thought I was very brave, except for one person, very dear friend of mine in America, who I care about very nicely, but she, I guess, was the only honest one who said she thought I looked nervous.
Ooh.
To which I responded with, why? And she said, because you were smiling all the time. And I said, I have to, because if I don't, I'll look creepy. And to prove that, here's what I look like if I don't smile. So unless I'm understudying Romus Ranganathan, it's not exactly the best kind of look to have when you're doing comedy. I swear, I did that same face to her just to prove it, and she said, it looks like you're about to go on a monologue about a Full Metal Jacket. And that's like, that's a new one, because I've been compared to Dara O'Brien, Al Murray, Patrick Stewart, Vin Diesel, although that one's about probably a bit more wishful thinking, but I've not been compared to Vincent D'Onofrio before, so that's a new one I can add to the list. But having that kind of resting bitch face that I have, it gives you a weird sense of inflated confidence, which is probably more of a trouble for me than there's anything else. So for example, for this, a couple of weeks ago, I went to the gym, because, you know, I'm nearly 30, I kind of have to at this point. It's also why I'm wearing shorts, because I'm showing off the best part of my workout regime is because my legs. It's making me look like a potato strung up by 2 chicken drumsticks. But you always get these different kinds of people at the gym. Mostly the one I go to, it's mostly older people, which suits me down to the ground because it means I don't have to work too hard to keep up with them. But every once in a while you get the kind of people that you know have just been doing this forever, like the kind of people that look like me if you shoved an air hose up my arse. And every once in a while you get the kind of people that they think the gym is like their personal place to be and they can just do whatever they want. Because I'm normally sitting in front of the mirror doing arm curls with the dumbbells, and there's other people doing the same. And there's one guy who was down there the other week who was getting the dumbbells, and every time he was finished with them, he would throw them on the ground, and really close to my feet as well. Oh, no. So when you have that kind of resting bitch face that gives you an kind of unprecedented sense of inflated confidence, you feel like you can say anything. And I very, very nearly went up to that guy and said, hey, steroid breast, stop throwing your dumbbells really close to my feet. Which at that point, if I had said that, I'm sure he probably wouldn't have been very happy. So at that point, you probably just have to double down and say, you know, it's not going to make your shrunken balls grow back by doing that, you know. Although if he had gotten really angry and started chasing me, that would have been a good way to get my steps in. It's like, come on, I've just got to get my cardio in. But it weirdly happens all the time. I just see things and I just get this random urge to say things that make no sense. Like when I was coming back from the gym, there's a guy who lives down the street from me who lives in a horse box. And he genuinely does. It's a horse box he's converted into a small mobile flat for himself and his dog. Oh. And he was walking with the dog down the street, and the dog was off the lead, and he had one of those kind of old-fashioned Hessian leads, and he had really thick dreadlocks, so it looked like he had 2 really long dreads going down to his knees. And I said to him, it looks like you've got a really long dread, man. And he just kind of looked at me and ignored it. He's probably thinking to myself, I didn't know your hallucinations could insult you. I didn't know they could look like Vincent D'Onofrio either. But you know, I don't want to make all the jokes about the way I look, but I've just got so much material to work with. I've been said once that I look like if somebody shaved the Honey Monster. Which is fitting, because I can do a very good Honey Monster impression.
Tell them about the honey, mummy.
Which does anybody else think that that's the kind of thing you would say to a pimp? He liked that one.
Yes, I do.
Thank you very much. No, not like my dad at all. My dad's a very good-looking man. Unfortunately, I didn't inherit much of his looks. He's definitely the kind of person that stands out in the crowd, mostly because his ears brush past you every time he walks past you. But no, he's a very, very good guy, my dad. He's very, very funny and surprisingly down to earth despite his really good sense of humour. And one thing I have to say, so my dad's name is Bob, and he's a carpenter, aka a builder. My dad is literally Bob the Builder. Surprisingly, his friends don't mock him about that very often, mostly because his friends are the people who he's hired, so they know if they insult him, they'll be on the dole. But he's a very funny man, and I could probably run my entire career based on stories he's told me throughout my childhood, all of which involve poo in a weird way. You'd think he's a plumber, considering how many stories he's got. But there's one story he told me that always got me in fits when I was a kid. He tells us this every time we're on holiday and we just get bored one evening. Because he's the kind of person that when he starts telling stories about gross things, people then trump him with other stories about gross things. And he told me this one story about some friends of his who they had like a 3-4-year-old kid who they were just starting to toilet train using the big boys' toilet. And obviously he wasn't quite ready for the entire ordeal, so every time he was done, he would yell, "Finished!" Well, one time they went to a bathroom display showroom.
Oh no!
And they let him just kind of wander off on his own, because what kind of problems could he get up to in there? So they're talking to the sales assistant, and through the echoing hallways they hear, "Finished!"
Oh.
And they just go and they see the brownie that he planted on the carpet on one of the show toilets.
Oh, no.
And they just picked him up and they ran out of there.
Oh, terrible.
Which, as funny as that is, I always thought it was funnier to think what kind of expression went onto the guy's face who discovered it after they left.
Oh.
And the thought of, I'm going to have to clean this up now.
No.
I did not sign up for this.
No.
Well, I think it's best to keep up with maintain the kind of status quo we've got here, so I'm going to leave us off with a poem. I always thought that with comedy it would be a hit, but I stand up here and I feel like shit.
Oh.
Thank you, you've been lovely. Thank you very much.